So if you're Thelonious Monk and Sonny Rollins, I guess you want Tommy Potter in your band.
Yep, it's like he's no nonsense. But he listen to how he adeptly matched his tonalities with Monk's playing weird chords. It's almost unrecognizable. That's the way you look tonight. It's a standard. Sonny's playing more sophisticated bebop harmonies. You can hear the flat fifths. You can hear the altered chord voicings in his lines. Monk's playing the weird chords, chromatic, kind of pungent, kind of thorny, kind of jabby. And Tommy Potter, he always seems to have the right bass note there every time. It's very cool.
Well, I noticed that too, but I first noticed that behind the sax solo. I mean, when you're doing all those notes and boom, 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 to stay out of the way, yet create that foundation. That was what was striking me. Was yeah.
Well, there's a reason why they called him first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's an important.
He's the guy.
But that's exactly what you're saying. Is that I just kind of came to that realization when I was listening to that the importance of obviously listening and understanding where those musicians are at, so you can adjust, because in those walking bass lines, I mean, you have a lot of options, right? Like chromatic or saying more to the whole tones, or there's a lot of choices you can make with those eighth notes, right?
Well, it's chromatic substitutions is kind of how you're doing it. That means that Tommy Potter understands what Monk's playing. He understands what Sonny's playing. It's not a mystery to him. He's hip to the sounds that they're making, and he's adjusting his line to be in support and in sync with what they're doing.
Right.
So that's why he gets the call first and knows every tune, of course, and can handle those blistering tempos also that these guys do.
Yeah.
Which takes us to this next guy, Curly Russell, who's really good at playing the fast stuff.
And he is their first guy born in New York. And he was a member of the Tad Dameron sextet, and and he was like Tommy Potter, much in demand because he could play at the rapid tempos, and so it's kind of another guy kind of in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, and his resume is incredible. Like who he played with, no joke.
Yeah, and on a lot of seminal recordings. There's one note here that a literary critic, Harold Bloom, included the performance of him playing with Bud Powell and Max Roach, Un Poco Loco, and he included that performance of that song on his short list of the greatest works of 20th century American art.
And there he is, Curly Russell, playing the bass.
Yeah.
Now you had another point that I found interesting. I heard the story differently, but didn't you say that that Donna Lee, the bebop classic, is named after his daughter?
Yes, yeah, that's according to one jazz historian, Donna Lee, which is the famous Charlie Parker song.
Well, actually, Miles Davis wrote the line, but Bird took the.
Well, it's a Charlie Parker. It's one of the recordings he's famous for, and then later Jaco Pastoria's debut album did the solo or.
Yeah, the jaw-dropping electric bass tour de force there, yeah.
Yeah, showing you want to hear fast bebop on electric bass. Here it is. But yeah, they said it was named after Curly Russell's daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, and he recorded with everybody again: Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, Sonny Stitt, Fats Navarro, Stan Getz, Milt Jackson, Dexter Gordon, Zoot Sims, Thelonious Monk, Art Blakey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's not Tommy Potter, it's Curly Russell or Gene Ramey. Those are the three guys that are on all those first bebop albums.
And they're the next two guys we're going to hear. Yeah, so let's listen to Long Tall Dexter with Curly Russell.